players are. Probably haven't really seen them in many other games. So we're going to go into the drafting phase, and as we expected, of course, Anubis is going to be immediately knocked out. But we have seen a good bit of variation on whether we've had a lot of capture points versus the payload maps, and Hollywood and Nepal being taken out. We have seen both of those quite a bit this tournament.
Volskaya getting taken out, no surprise there. I'm expecting Hanamura to disappear pretty shortly.
Yeah, I mean, you're assuming both teams are going to want to play payload maps. I actually think the King of the Hill is really random to who it goes in favor of. Because I have to say, if you look, we didn't get to talk about the opposing team, but if you see them down in the bottom left, on the front right, that's going to be Numlocked. He plays the tank. He's actually joined by one of his old teammates from Team Fortress, which is Nox, who sits at the back and is the captain. Those two, as a new contribution to the team, are the ones that pretty much get the whole team doing the same thing. They're like, let's go, let's move, and they're actually kind of bringing more coordination to this team. Next to Numlock, second from the right, is going to be Bromas. He plays Flex, kind of similar to Tivik, fantastic aimer, absolutely brilliant Bromas in terms of aim and just his capability of playing everything. And then next to him, sat in the middle, we're looking at the Rogue now, but we're talking about the other team, so production are going to be like, wait a minute, what's going on?
There we go.
Next to Bromas, directly in the middle, is going to be Artier. He came... I believe it was from that game that starts with P or something. Was it not Painkiller? But it was a FPS game. Dirty Bomb. Maybe it was Dirty Bomb.
I was about to say,
yeah, sorry, it's Dirty Bomb.
Yeah,
apparently he's like a massive aimer, and I played with him at the start of beta, and his McCree is just insane. He's got so much time on McCree.
I've had a couple of sort of RDR 1v5 kind of highlight videos. He's been fantastic.
I actually think his McCree is a little bit more aggressive and maybe stronger than IDDQD's on the Rogues. And next to him is going to be Linksaw, or as I like to call him, Lynx. He plays the Widowmaker. He's the player, sorry, to the left next to him. We're zooming in on Bromaster. Yeah, let's find Lynx. He's from Finland. No, that's RTR. Go left one more.
Go on, we can do it.
We're learning together. Screw RTR. That's
Lynx.
Lynx.
There we go.
Yeah. See, that's how hard it is to find Lynx on his Widowmaker. He's so good. He's so good at positioning. Not even the camera crew can find him.
We need recon.
Yeah, he plays the Widowmaker, and he can really go off. But he gets sometimes he can get some nerves, and this is a big match. We'll see how he does. But he's a player that can definitely go off. And next to him is going to be Drakius. Now,
that's good hair.
Drakius is Drakius is actually a Reinhardt player. No, he used to be a Reinhardt player. So he's behind his shield here when he did play Reinhardt. But he ended up playing Mercy, and then he switched to Reinhardt, and then actually he switched back off onto Mercy, and he's a lot better on the Mercy than he is, and it's Numlocked on the far right that plays as Reinhardt. So there's very little difference actually between these teams on how good they can aim. I slightly give the favor over to Rogue Esports, but this team, because they play so well together, could really just come out and have a super strong performance. And I think a lot of people are expecting that. But I think Rogue Esports can upset. And I know I've done like a huge now talking, about both teams.
Yeah, there's going to be nothing left to analyze in the match.
No, it's not the analyzing. I've got nothing more to say. I hope we've introduced them well, because it is a new esport, and we
that's really
get to know the players. But
you've played with, it's important to know, you've played with both of these teams. I know we talk about how much you know them, but you've played with Rogue as part of their team, and you've also played with a lot of the players from Creation Esports. It's really good.
I played with Rogue before they were called Rogue, when we were setting up the team, and I was a support player, and then it was too much work and time, and I played with Artier and Drakius when we were part of MD in the beta phase, and they were really... When I first played with Drakius when he was on Mercy, I was like, whoa, this is what it's like to play with a really good Mercy for the first time. It was like the first time I had someone in a scrim that was really good on Mercy, and then we kept on getting to the end of the match, and it was like, 35% of the team damage, RTR on McCree, and I was like, oh yeah, this kid's pretty good.
Yeah, like 50, 60 sometimes, man. That guy is crazy.
I've never seen that. I think you're lying.
I've seen it in scrims. I've seen it in scrims. Yeah. I've genuinely seen over 50% in a scrim with Archie.
Really?
I think I have the video at home. I can show you.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to show me.
Not necessarily in the tournament, but I'm pretty sure.
He doesn't believe unless he sees.
No, man, I've got it there.
Considering how intimately you know both teams, then, for someone that may be watching this that isn't quite as aware or hasn't seen any of their previous matches, who would you pick as someone to watch on each side as a spectator? Who you'd be most excited to see make big plays?
It's more about what comps and what the comps are meant to do and who's playing it. Okay. They should all be able to make big plays. Obviously, a lot of times you'll go to the Widows, but of course the McCrees are a big factor here. The difference between the McCrees is RTL likes to go a little bit more aggressive. He uses flashbang right click combo.
Yeah. Right.
And then IDDQD actually uses a lot of
left click. Yeah.
So he plays from a little bit more of a mid range. And whether or not which one works best. You know, it's very situational, but I still think the aggressive McCrees, when they pull it off, offer a lot more to actually winning the team fight. Well, you want to bring your DPS and your tank team forward, so it helps your supports as well.
Our first match is going to be on King's Row, so on the first couple of points, in fact, on the second and last points especially, there are going to be plenty of places where the left-click McCree can potentially squeeze out an advantage, almost sniping to begin with, and then as you move forward towards the front, you can like flank with all the aggressive.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's a lot of different areas where you can step out from the side on this map, especially once you get past the initial capture point. That whole hallway going up to the foundry has so many different areas that you could use even defensively for those flanks. And we've seen a couple of the plays focused on shoving towards the right sides, but James, anything in the compositions you see that catches your eye at the start here?
Well, you've got double McCree on the defense, which is really nice for the ground force, but you lose the Junkrat, which sometimes you need just to be able to get rid of the Reinhardt shield. And they've got Lynx playing the Widow. And this is really risky, because if Lynx wants to play from high ground and he gets picked and you've got two McCrees on the ground, it means that you don't have a lot of ways to handle the Soldier, which can go high ground, and two Widowmakers if they're going to keep it. So match is going to start, and I don't know if they're just going to take the two Widowmakers just to look for a peek, but they can play one from the ground behind the shield, and they can also play one from a higher advantage, and they're going to go for the Junkrat. And I think the Junkrat's really nice because you can block off the hotel on attack, which is when you just get through the gates, you turn left and you start spamming, and of course you can stop the McCrees from being so aggressive if you have a good speed from Widows. But of course AKM is going to need a little bit more space, so his team's got to move forward for him to actually start getting some of those angles.
Lynx and AKM now going to be facing off on opposing Widowmakers as we try and move things forward. Tavik, oh wow, getting picked off very, very quickly on Junkrat there. I mean, Tavik's Junkrat is the stuff of legend. It's always worth checking that stuff out. And 2 kills very, very quickly. Lynx, I think, like you said, James, able to, if he gets some momentum going, he can really get on a hot streak, can he?
Yeah, I mean, you get the opening pick here on King's Row. You should be defending. The Junkrat's going to have to, I'm not sure if they're going to want to change that, but RT is going to be able to pick up wins, so now they're already going to be slowed down a little bit more.
I like the little forward pressure they're putting on, though. Bromas got a pretty quick pick on AKM, which really slows down the support cover fire for them actually trying to move out onto the first point.
If you're winning fights big, you should push forward on the defense, because if you get that final pick or catch someone coming out alone and get another pick, it just slows the enemy team down. And of course, this is stopwatch. You want to complete the match in the fastest time possible, and that's always a good tactic. Lynx again going to get a pick on AKM.
Yeah, doing a very, very good job there at the moment. AKM just not quite able to find the response, not getting as many kills as he would have liked. Both teams, of course, being able to get back into the action pretty quick. Artia goes down, Bromas with a Deadeye available, and Rogue are trying their best to keep up on the high ground, but it's really quite difficult for them at the moment.
Yeah, I'm really liking the setup with them playing around the high ground area, though, because they can kind of, as you've talked about so many times, choose when they want to make that move up. RTR's trying to break that point, but Ryan Force does get snapped up on the retreat. He still had his shield up, so a great retake of the high ground area, going to delay this push once again.
AKM also just, I think he was very briefly on Winston, switching back to McCree. Oh, and here we go, he's actually back onto the Widowmaker. So a couple of changes there, the team discussing what they're going to do. Archer and Bromas both with Deadeye available now.
Both with Deadeye available. The only thing they've got going for them, we should switch over to maybe IDDQD on the Soldier when we get time, because he's got his ultimate available, but he does use it and actually drops. So I feel that they stayed on the Soldier to actually make something happen there. Bromas going to get his ulti off, but they have at least push them away. But you might see the defensive team come back in and start challenging just as soon as it's available, and he picks up reinforce.
That was huge. Very, very last second there. Oh, and AKM actually getting a little bit unchecked, but he's not quite able to get those headshots off at the moment. IDDQD in the thick of the action. He's going to go down as well.
So, I mean, this looks like a great hold that they've had so far. They've churned through a reasonable bit of time, and even if they are able to get this point, then they're still already setting themselves up for a pretty good other half.
Lynx hasn't been contested in a big way. The Soldier has offered pretty much nothing, and I believe that they kept the Soldier just because of the ulti, but it still didn't work out. So actually IDDQD now is going to play the McCree. So it's you're pretty much going to see the same lineups.
Oh, and he got Lynx off as well in that battle. Hang on a second, a massive ground battle going on now. Both sides with Lucio ult immediately popped. High noon from, I think it was Bromas, but might have gotten cancelled. Artia currently on 55% himself, so both very close. Nice pick up on IDDQD as well. On the opposing side, Tavik now now on McCree, trying his best to lay some damage down, spots the support players, and unfortunately Bromas is going to go down before his High Noon goes off too. So at the end of all of that, 5v5, but right now we're actually getting fewer numbers on the point on the part of Rogue.
Well, I mean, you've got Nox playing a really nice harass player. He's denying the point as much as he can. You know, Reinforce can't get super up close to him. Finally, IDDQD shows up to get the pick. So they should be able to get the payload out here. You've got Numlock trying to buy a little bit of time for R tier, but at the same time, they've still burned a good amount of time as they move into the second phase of this map.
Yeah, and we have to think the Mercy player for Creation Esports really just helping the McCrees more on the defense there. That made it ridiculously hard for IDDQD to actually lock down the kills. You saw actually IDDQD and Tivik die even on the offensive push that they won.
Yeah.
Purely just because they weren't having the healing support. But, you know, they did get the point. It is expected once you can remove the Widow and a couple of the
James, let's talk a little bit about hero compositions, first part of the map versus second part of the map, because we have Lynx moving on to Pharah now as well. We can clearly see it's a different strategy. Talk us through what you're expecting to see here as the defending team.
Well, Pharah is nice, but you're up against a Widow and still the two McCrees, so it's not going to be like absolutely
the single
brilliant.
shots to take him out from these guys are pretty...
Bromas on the Tracer. I mean, Tracer is really good on this map. You're very self-sufficient. You can get in and out of fights with getting health packs. So we're really going to see how this works out. But so far, Lynx doing some nice work on his Pharah.
Going hamming from the flank all the way in. We talked about this a little bit. Unko getting some of those picks, and he gets it. That aggro Mercy, though, knows how to shoot.
Bromas now on Tracer as well. I'm glad we actually caught that fight. Unko at the moment. And it's so difficult when you're playing Pharah in those confined spaces as well, because you hit someone standing in front of you, you're doing damage to yourself too. It's not just a case of someone got a kill on Mercy, this is hilarious. It's actually very difficult in that situation as a Pharah player.
Yeah, it definitely is. And also, you just don't want that to happen to you on stream. So we do have a couple of nice ultis that can zone for Rogue, which are the Deadeyes. But of course, Numlocked, that's really where I'm looking for a change maker. And he's actually going to throw his ulti down. And already they're going to play off this. And the defensive Tracer, I have to say, of Bromas is really causing huge problems. So finally, AKM, who's boosted, which will pretty much take out a Tracer in one hit, is going to get that kill. And he's going to get the second kill. And along with the res, I believe, from Unko.
That was a 5-man res off the back of that ultimate from Pharah there from Lynx. That was absolutely beautiful, but we'll see if they can actually make it count. It's currently 5v4 at the moment, but don't forget Lynx is having to run back home. He's actually switched onto Genji in the meantime. IDDQD still trying to hold this point and push the payload further forward. It looks like they will be able to grab the position for now.
Yeah, they needed to catch this momentum, I think, as well, considering how slow the earlier parts of this map were. If they can punch it in reasonably quickly, they'll be in a pretty good spot for the other side, but dragging it out here could be where this gets really, really difficult on the swap.
If you finish strong here, yeah, it's really impressive. So Lynx is going to go onto his sniper. He actually went Genji and he switched off, which is the right call. AKM's still going to be on his Pharah, which is going to be a little bit dangerous, but Reinforce has his ultimate available. If he can get a good ulti off, they get so much momentum off the back of this. Both Mercies will soon have their res available. So let's follow the McCrees, and so far they're just going to drop down. The shield broke and they picked up a kill, and the sniper can start becoming a problem. Lynx is in position and he's not very easy to challenge. You can spam with rockets, but it's not going to work very well, so they're going to switch to the Winston. But let's take a look at Lynx and see how he's going to be able to defend himself.
I feel like Lynx has really just been a big playmaker in this game in terms of he hasn't also been super vulnerable and picked off, getting the denials on the Deadeyes and whatnot. As you can see here, continuing to lay a lot of damage. There's Winston rolling up, trying to push him back, so finally getting a little bit, but even then still can't actually kill him.
Yeah, and both have res. We're going to see the res used for Rogue Esports. Going to pretty much get everybody up apart from AKM, and the defensive res was a lot better. And that will probably set the momentum for Creation Esports, but there's always the McCree factor, as Tivik tries to take on Numlocked. He gives him a punch to the face, but unfortunately...
a hammer to the face hurts a little bit more.
The hammer did work a little bit more, but Reinforce doing a great job. He's been on the payload. Bromas has ultimate available behind him. Going to wait for the Winston shield to drop. And we'll see if he can coordinate with his team. Yeah,
this is very, very close to the payload actually completing here. Reinforce doing his best to keep the momentum up, but he is unable to grab the support that he needs right now. And Artia leading the charge to push everyone else up. Spots IDDQD, tries to play cleanup crew. Very nice roll from IDDQD to try and get away from there, but he has to be careful because he needs the support of the rest of his team.
So you've got two Deadeyes available for Rogue Esports, and we've also got Bromas actually coming out on the Bastion. That's okay, but maybe the two Deadeyes could be a nice factor here. Reinforce is a little bit far away from his ulti. They do have Unko with res available, and Savon on Creation will also have his res, so That's going to just be a zoning.
Yeah, I mean, I like this, though, because at this point, it's still playing around the stopwatch, right? Since they've managed to slow them down a pretty good amount. They're going to dive in, pause the shield with the sound barrier at the same time. IDDQD's down, but Tavik comes in with the ult, and he's going to be able to get R tier, but at the same time, Lynx is still just getting kill after kill from up top. 3 in a row.
Wow, and managing that last kill on Unko as well. Fantastic. They just about managed to squeeze it over. And that's actually impressive considering 5 people are dead for Rogue right now. That was sneaky.
Yeah, Reinforce is like, yo, Reinhardt's don't do anything and actually push. That was pretty amazing.
Y'all gonna die, but I got this payload.
So yeah, basically that fight went down really nice. Wins uses sound barrier. IDDQD came around and got the Bastion, which was pretty much the biggest threat that they had. They had 2 Deadeyes available. Of course, you didn't have the Deadeye for RTS, so the Deadeyes were quite nice, but they weren't overly effective because there was Lynx being uncontested on the top because Winston wasn't able to get hold of him. But what really was the MVP at the final moment is Reinforce. Just walked
it's hard
over the end.
It's kind of hard to get across because just by himself, like of course, if he gets taken down, then they've got another full big push that they have to make completely together, and suddenly.
But you know how stupid that is, right? What happened? They're winning on defense.
Yeah, they completely sweep them, and he just snuck in because nobody was actually on the payload to stop it from progressing forward.
Who expects the 2-meter tall?
The absolute that's like him in real life trying to sneak around.
No, he's not really gonna. You'll hear his footsteps a mile away, won't you? But I guess in the middle of everything else, it just goes to show how fast-paced and how difficult it is to keep out everything.
The mayhem.
One thing I do want to point out, though,
I really want to turn you guys down in my ear. You're so loud. Can we just mute them?
Just mute everything.
You're actually like really loud though in my ear.
Oh.
Well, you're mostly all I hear anyway, James.
Yeah,
so
I just hear you like when I sleep. So
when Nathan talks, I
feel like
I start deafening. Oh, that's better.
Is it my American? Is it my inner American? Is it too much?
Yeah, I think
freedom here
both of you. Where are you from, Josa?
Me, I'm from Hong Kong, technically.
Oh, okay.
Hong Kong, Chinese, Australian, whatever you want to pick. I'm from. I'm like
just a weird mix.
International man of mystery. I'm from everywhere.
Nate's inner American was coming out.
Yeah. You're from foreign, is what I get a lot.
All right, so going. Sorry, Nate. I was just like, it was actually.
It's okay, Dad.
I like listening to you. My ears were hurting.
One thing to point out before we go into these team comps as well. The middle part of the map, James, where you said that it was going to be really risky to pick those Pharahs, it's actually quite interesting to see that AKM just about managed to make that work well. I mean, that was in the face of the Widowmakers. It was quite risky, wasn't it?
But the thing is, you had a boosted Mercy, which actually got an insta-gib onto the Tracer.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of damage. It's like 125 damage rocket, and then obviously it gets boosted.
James, explain to me the Zenyatta. Talk to me about it. On the defense of the first point.
Is if people are going to rush at you and you can actually stand super defensive, you can debuff and do a huge amount of damage.
So with the turrets, it's meant to stop a rush?
Yeah, you're meant to be, if they're going to try and fight on the point, which is normally what Creation do, you debuff them, you can kill them, and it's also great versus an offensive
So more of a strategical choice than a common.
It's fantastic versus an offensive Pharah, because if you get a debuff on the Pharah, one McCree can take out the Pharah. But unfortunately, I've not seen Zenyatta's work very well.
Unko got killed pretty fast on that Zenyatta, of course. You're basically a paper plane. AKM is down as well. So IDDQD trying to rock this by himself here as Ryan Force is also knocked out. And TV can't get the magic hook. He's just going to get lambasted in that first point. Looks like it could be a pretty quick pickup here for Creation.
The defensive lineup they took with the Hog and also the Zenyatta is probably meant to stop people from rushing you with these kind of like, sometimes people run through with Reapers and stuff, and they've had problems actually with that. At least that's what we've seen. Creation Esports to come out with a much more normal lineup. Unko's out of position. He should actually be around here, Unko, where you are now, Jorasar, where you're spectating, so he can play really defensive and not get caught out by a Pharah. He didn't do that. He got caught out, and then it's just a snowball effect where the Hog really doesn't do much. So their comp is very much changed up. They picked up a Reaper, which, just great for these close-range payload fights, and they also have their own Pharah, so I'm going to have some air duels going on.
Yeah, this is very interesting as well because this is so completely different from the first half of the map. No Widowmakers for either side to start things off.
Yeah, that is...
And this feels like a completely different game, and it goes to show this isn't about like a meta, in the game of Overwatch at the moment. It's about...
good shield.
This is about the meta minute by minute because 10 minutes later, guys, this has completely changed, hasn't it?
they're going to have to, yeah, we'll see where it's going to turn out. But pretty stellar play there from Bromas. Actually ended up dropping a shield just in time to make sure that Artia on his McCree got off his ulti, which pretty much won him the fight and actually got him through mid, where it wasn't looking particularly amazing. And now Bromas, he's got a huge amount of charge, and he's going to have ultimate available. And, you know, on the defensive side, they've got Unko with a res and Reinforce almost with his ulti, and they're going to try and challenge the payload before it gets on point, but there comes the ulti from Bromas.
It was a perfect position to drop that Graviton.
And he's dead.
Pulls in absolutely everybody, and that's the ultimate alley-oop for Lynx there as they completely clean out. So this has just been such a fast movement for them, and
that's a team wipe.
All things said and done, with 19 to beat, they are doing beautifully in this second half.
I mean, when you're up against someone that has Graviton Surge available, the thing that you need to make sure is that your Mercy doesn't get caught. Unfortunately for them, Unko got caught, so he wasn't able to revive his team, but they still do now have that ultimate available and Reinforce. So I'm wondering if they're going to want to put on some of the offensive pressure here and fight round the corner. Wins has ultimate available.
And AKM is on that Widow now as well, so we're going to see a little bit of offensive sniper action coming in this point again, which was so crucial in the last half. Pops the Deadeye, but the Reinforced shield is right there to stop it.
Oh, and Numlock, unfortunately whiffing just a little bit, and he's going to get taken out for his efforts. He goes all the way back. AKM trying to do as much damage as possible, but he's not picking people up from the back. He's actually getting stuck in with Bromas, and Bromas has to be, I want to say, the MVP that's really pushed this game forward for Creation Esports here. He's just been out in front, constantly pressuring Rogue, constantly forcing them to question the way that they're playing. And this is really, really good stuff.
Getting this in here would be such a great start for this series for them. They come in, another Graviton Pulse right on the center of the point. They can continue to push it forward, and they should be able to get it in.
GG. There was no res available.
BEA, go down. Beautiful.
1-0.
Wow. That was a super cool way that they took that first point and just worked together very, very nicely, especially the play on Bromas with the Graviton Pulse was so good, James.
Yeah, well...
You deserve it. Take that play.
You should kind of expect it if they haven't used it through the whole center push, that there will be something. And Unko, I don't know where he got caught, if he got picked off. I'm not sure of the kill feed who killed him, but Unko got caught, which was pretty much the problem there. And really the biggest problem from the defensive team of Rogue Esports going into that match was when they ended up, they kind of wanted to do this, a lot of pro teams do this, where they're like, okay, we've got what we need, ultimates to fight. So we got Wins with his sound barrier on Lucio. We've got, you know, Reinforce with his Reinhardt ultimate. Okay, we push around the corner with speed. If they don't react in time, we will start collecting kills, and we're just snowball. Problem with that, when they did it in the last checkpoint, they ended up having a Widowmaker that wasn't really in position to help them and didn't help actually contribute to any of the kills. Numlocked also actually blocked the Reinhardt ultimate from Rogue Esports. And at the same time, Bromas, still not having a problem with the game, actually manages to help get the kill on the opposing team's Reinhardt and shield his own Reinhardt Numlocked when he went in aggressively. And of course, at the start of the match, you really had just had Lynx, you know, being a problem. And I think, you know, maybe they could have brought in a Genji, maybe they could have played a little bit more aggressive on point. But yeah, there was a big problem at the start with handling Lynx. And through the middle, I would say it got a lot better, but that was mainly with the help of the Pharah.
On the defense, Lynx was the rock star on that Widow. On the aggressive, Bromas just hit every
but look at
opportunity.
This. You see that shield there on Artia? That won them that fight, and then it continued. Bromas won them the next fight as well.
Oh, that clump.
And even when they went aggressive, there was one more fight after here where they wanted to go aggressive on the defense, but they didn't get their Widow in position. They weren't doing the damage. And then once the ultimates kind of ran out and the sound barrier got weaker and weaker over time, the Creation Esports were like, okay, you didn't do anything. You didn't get much achieved. We'll turn on our ultimates now. And we'll come at you with our own speed, and you know, and our Reinhardt's still alive because we've got support from Azaria. So, yeah, it felt like, as we mentioned, it's the team Creation Esports that play solid together and play compositions that really sustain and help each other. And Rogue are trying to do stuff like get these little picks, but they aren't working.
So then I would ask, outside of, you mentioned possibly a Genji to help deal with the Widowmaker on the first push, what would you have liked to have seen maybe on the second half of that, trying to help slow down on the defensive side? Would a Widowmaker have been better to throw in there, or?
Its positioning was the problem. The Pharah, when it came around the corner, ended up kind of boosting himself off a wall and got straight into some of the support's face.
Yeah.
And that was like, literally when that happened, you were just like, okay, this is done. Because there was a Roadhog, and it's just like, what's the Roadhog really offering if you don't have a team? If you have a team and you have a
That's
Roadhog,
a great example of exactly what you were talking about, how the Pharah is just a bit of a risky play. If you manage to get off of that wall and you're in the face of support and you can kill off 1 or 2 people while the rest of the team are trying to get organized, you picking Pharah at that part of the map looks like an ingenious decision. And of course, if the moment you pop up out of the wall, a Widowmaker's already got you in her sights, you're going to look pretty silly.
Yeah, definitely potentially. But the way that they do it, of course, is they are one team when they play, and when the Pharah goes in, you've got McCree's in your faces, and you've got a lot of backup for your Pharah, so you can go a little bit ham on the start of King's Road. But we're going to go into Numbani. This map, just to give you an idea of as Jurasar tries to get out of the...
It's not working!
This map on defense on the first point is crucial to hold it just as long as possible, because it's actually the point which is in the defensive team's favor. So the offensive team doesn't always have the easiest of times breaking it. After that, it normally goes more into the offensive team's favor. So the first point is super important. The reason is like, if you fly over to the first point here, the only, keep looking at the point, Jurasar, up the top there on that balcony is a way that you can enter, which is like one of the stable ways that you can enter. Outside of that, everything else is a little bit risky.
Yeah.
Actually. So the defensive team has really nice spacing between their heroes for their Mercy to move around. And yeah, they can be really difficult to get angles on to hit the right people. But if you do get a good, Widow sniper, or you do get a Genji on your opposing defensive team, it can just snowball. So if you get a good attack on this map, that's normally what will set the pace of who's going to end up winning.
Yeah, and one of the things that I find super interesting is we have the Torbjorn here, we have the Bastion as well. We've seen the Soldier play quite a bit on Numbani just for this, but it's not like it's up against
which they're already losing.
Yeah.
Potentially they're going to lose the turret as well. This could be a first point really easy take, and it's really the positioning of Lynx and how strong that was.
He's had such a strong start in today's games. Really a key factor, I would say, in a lot of the pushes they've been able to make. They got 4 on the point, getting ready to move that payload out across the map, and just a very smooth, crisp start. Great take, great engage by Creation.
Let's talk about what the idea was behind that, though, because that didn't work.
The idea was that you expect people to come into this point probably with maybe a Winston or a Genji or something that they push fast, because if they push fast, they can't handle Bastion and they can't handle Torbjorn. But with the slow push that they actually did with a Widow, just catching off the opposing team's Widow, you get a huge advantage, and Bastion's nothing really to a Widowmaker. So the comp and how they played it and how they actually went in was, it's a bit of a counter comp, you can say, but worked out beautifully. And now the middle, this is dangerous against a sniper.
Right, and now Tavik's going to come up here. He's going to get his tactical visor out, but Lynx has been
see IDDQD on this McCree a little bit too far away, but they are going to put some pressure down here. We do have Primal Rage available on AKM, but they still don't get a kill, and Lynx is actually switched off to the Tracer for the final point. Finally goes down to AKM, so something going a little bit well, at least now for Rogue. And this is actually quite a difficult part to attack. It's just the top of this ramp.
Yeah.
And there's way more ultimates available for Rogue.
I really like the way Artia used his ultimate there as well. He just patiently
That's the second time he's gotten Reinforce right as that shield goes down, too.
I mean, Rogue came out fighting. They were like, we need to blunt this momentum. And then Artia went, hang on a second, this is a good way to sort of like stop and calm things down and reset. So I really like that from him.
Well, Rez is going to come in, but unfortunately straight afterwards, the Mercy for Creation Esports. Sevon and Nox also on the Lucio are going to go down. Numlocked are going to hit a nice charge. IDDQD does have Deadeye available. We're going to put a huge amount of damage into Numlocked, but still they got momentum. Is he going to pick up RTA? It's a risky move, doesn't do so. Lynx switching off the Tracer to his own McCree.
And Lynx has that Deadeye available as well, so they've got still a good bit of momentum going. They were stunted a little bit there, but I think with how fast they got that early take, they still don't need to immediately get this in to be in a good spot, so everything's still rolling along very smoothly here for Creation.
There's a high noon from Lynx on the high ground there. Not quite able to get anything at the moment. We do have sound barrier from Wins aiding Rogue in this fight against Creation, but still the payload isn't moving backwards yet. A lot of... oh, hang on a second. Artia now coming in with round 2 with the high noon. Manages to pick off Tavik on Soldier. He is absolutely all over the place, and we have the sound barrier supporting now, just as he got hit by Widowmaker as well. So Artia manages to live there to fight another day.
Yeah, still pushing. Widowmaker under problems, and also the Reinhardt goes down. So looking to go now in favor of Creation Esports.
These guys have really been putting up some great games so far, trying to push Tavik back on that Diva. Of course, trying to delay by a little bit more time as that ADQD steps in, but I think if they can just push him back for a little bit, they should be able to get this in. So can we agree there? Very, very powerful start to this Numbani map by Creation.
This is, I mean, I don't really know what to say, because Creation, like you said, James, they don't beat Rogue this way. This is so fast.
Well, they aim almost as well, and sometimes better, and really they're just playing so much better as a team. Their coordination is better, they're fighting to better, they're using their ultimates better, everything is just going better for them. And also the two opening strats of both teams, Rogue was almost like trying to be pretty with it, you know, like a little bit creative, doesn't work out. And then Creation are just coming in and being like, hey, we're just going to play this. This is what we play online. This is what works, and we know how to play it. Oh, look, it worked.
So I think this is actually a really good illustration of, well, hang on a second, if you just have, you know, really good individual players that can get those clutch 1v3s, 1v4s in a big team fight situation, then a good Overwatch team makes. I think this match has proven it's really not the case, is it? Because Creation molding together, okay, team comp, depending on the push on the first point, accepted. That was just, they were working together. So.
Okay, the thing is about when you say about getting the 1v3s and stuff, that actually only really happens when your team is creating space and you've got the support to get the 1v3. So it's not really like a 1v3. So if you see a McCree go off, it's normally because, yes, they got Lucio speed. You know, maybe they've got a Mercy boosting or healing, but things are normally going in your favor for that to happen. It's very rare to see someone actually just destroy people outside of big ultimates, like on a Genji or just a Widowmaker that goes off because of great positioning and the team really not being able to challenge.
That was pretty clearly illustrated with the push they made up on the left side while Lynx came up from straight down the middle with that Widowmaker and just continued to be superb at what he does on that Widow. But here we go back on the other side. 4 minutes and 48 seconds to complete the map. The pressure is certainly on here for Rogue, as they're currently down 0-1 in this best of 5.
Yeah, very standard defense here. Linksaw on his sniper is always big. Bromas will normally take high position on his soldier. On the offensive side of Rogue, the attacking team, Rogue Esports, you're going to see two Monkeys and a Genji, which means that Linksaw shouldn't really be a problem. And there isn't something necessarily that can handle them in just a big way. You're going to get a lot of damage, obviously, from Bromas, but whether or not it gets through the shields or even matters, who knows? And it looks like Unko is going to be playing probably with Tavik. So this is a much more aggressive attacking side than we saw from the other team, but I actually think I like their lineup and what it can do. Linksaw going to be defending pretty straight far forward. Yeah, Jorasar is going to do so much first-person viewing here for all you fans at home.
No pressure at all. I think we've been doing a good percentage of first-person.
Nah, so far. I actually hate third-person.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like.
It's useful at the end of maps.
It's useful like that, when it's useful after a few kills come in and it's clean up. I love watching players actually.
Lynx has moved back pretty quickly at the start of this map. He was looking to be a little bit threatening, but ultimately you want to make sure that people don't have the opportunity to come in. Excellent dodge there from Reinforce, I think, who came in very quickly with Winston. Indeed, 2 bubbles going on immediately on point, and that's 2 bodies down for Creation so far. Instant revive on Tavik. He's going to be extremely important, using Mercy there to the best of his advantage, and there is actually no one taking him out right now. We're trying from the soldier up above, though. Bromas not quite able to get the kills just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the way that they just got right up in their faces, straight on top. That also forces them to come down if they want to try to stop the cap. Immediately, so far forward aggressive. Like, you've got Tavik's already looking at where this next checkpoint would have been for the payload that's not even out on the map yet, basically saying, you're not coming out here to defend the rest of your team, getting right into Ungo's face, or 7's face, saying, well, how are you supposed to get to the next position here? Numlock can't even move out towards the point, and the payload's going to get rolling.
Yeah,
so,
this is beautiful.
Pretty similar in the sense that they had the comp that was big in terms of its advantage when they met. They went for that comp that was jumping on people. It kind of made the soldier not as useful as it should have been, and also Lynx as well wasn't as useful. So Lynx is going to switch on to the Reaper. There's still 2 monkeys here. IDDQ is going to be playing the Genji, Tivik on the Pharah. So this Reaper could be a big factor, and the fact that you've still got a lot of ultimates available for defensive team, especially Bromas, but both teams also have res. So we're going to have to see how these Mercies position.
And the team's now very slowly pushing towards each other, not afraid of that engagement around the dogleg, and we do have to move back, unfortunately. Bromas at the moment with Tactical Visor doing his best to kill off a lot, but Primal Rage is kind of getting in the way of that.
It eats up so much of what he has to offer there, but Bromas is still able to get a good bit of work, and of course that monkey all on his own, not going to get too much done, and AKM will get knocked down, but Tavik also can't do too much by himself over there either.
It's Tavik struggling just a little bit, but getting picked off by Bromas. Who else is alive for Rogue at the moment? IDDQD looking to see if he can salvage, but it's just they need to regroup and reset.
They need to win the next push if they gotta want a chance.
Yeah.
And there's so many ultimates again available on the defending team, Creation Esports. The res was actually used by Unco, but wasn't really to any success. Really, the Creation Esports is just so great at defending. So.
They're already used up half their time that's available for them to actually get all the way to the end of the map. So Numlock is going to drop that Earth Shatter, knocks down Tavik, charges in. Good night, Princess. And look at that, getting the shield up in time for the flashbang to stay alive.
Just about 48 hit points remaining. And is this fight going to be the end of the challenge here?
I mean, that might be the end of the game in terms of timing, but maybe they have another one. Sorry, they got a minute, 48. I think AKM should have been on Widowmaker this whole time instead of the monkey as soon as you saw the Reaper. Widowmaker in the middle room is just so useful in terms of getting picks, and you can actually remove the soldier from high ground and actually buy some time. You can buy some time for your...
And Lynx with that Death Blossom gets, oh baby, a triple.
Numlocked at the moment, getting trapped inside the house as well. He's not going to be doing very well for himself. IDDQT with Deadeye available.
His defense.
He gets picked off by Artia. I mean, for Creation Esports, this is just... This is supreme on both sides.
This is pretty much enough. There's a single minute left to get the payload all the way to the end of the map, and it's not even at the first payload checkpoint, so I don't know, James. I think this defense has been enough.
Oh, wow. That was a huge Earth Shatter there. Great initiation, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to break through here. Reinforce.
GG's.
Yeah, that's it. GG's all around. Wow. That was... Okay, so that was a masterclass on one side from Creation, but they showed us some sick defense in the other half as well.
The defense is really good because they disengage well. They really play around the offense. Like, if you're going to attack a team and you've got a Pharah, you need to make sure that your Pharah is actually a factor when you're attacking. And Tivik in the middle part of this map wasn't much of a factor because of how well they disengaged. And he was up against a soldier that really wasn't being contested. Even if you jump on a soldier as a Winston, you pretty much just sprint, move away, heal up, and then just shoot anybody that you like. So the comp that they played to get through the center of the map wasn't optimal. Sure, Creation played really well in the disengage, but they should have been on that Widowmaker from the get-go. AKM should have just been like, we got the first point, that was awesome. How do you get through the middle of the map? Well, you go on the Widowmaker, you've got your team out there already getting position, and you got so many angles to find people.
Let's talk about disengaging and how well Creation do that. What goes through your head when you're in that kind of position and you have to make the split-second call about whether to commit yourself to a fight or whether it's better to sit back and disengage? Because having to make that call in the first place, more often than not, is quite tricky, isn't it?
It's a lot of the times like how far they are away from you when you realize they're doing that engage and what you have available and what your positioning is. I mean, if you disengage too late and you're against monkeys, Winstons, you're pretty much the fight's already over. If you disengage, early enough, the fight can almost be lost for them. And if you've only used like speed on your Lucio to get a good disengage and you're using positioning and cover and you're supporting each other well, sometimes they might actually use like a sound barrier too early on the offensive side when they attack, and then you wait for it and then you re-engage. But really, it was...
This was so sick from Numlock with that Earth Shatter into the... Pretty much getting straight up into the quad kill there with the support. And after all of this, just absolutely shut down every push that they tried to make. What a great series that we've got so far, I think, especially considering that a lot of people came in, you come into here, that Rogue's good, Rogue is great, but Creation's been working together. I think especially like you said in the pre-match was that their thing was that they do synergize so well together as a team rather than relying on those single big players. And when you see the support or, the tank players being able to get those big plays like that, that really shows, as you said earlier also as well, like how well he's setting everybody up for those big defensive pushes.
So when you get to this point, obviously it's a tricky part in the series. You're 2-0 down. I mean, you've seen it through multiple esports. Both of you have seen it through many, many different esports in the past. How are Rogue resetting themselves at this point? What's going through their minds? Because they're not necessarily, they aren't playing particularly badly, but Creation are playing so well.
I don't think Rogue will actually recover from this kind of beating if they go into another payload map. If they go
only have payload maps.
Yeah, so
everything else was
if they were to go into King of the Hill, but the only good thing is the map just needs to start strong for Rogue. It has to. That has to just be the one factor that starts happening is the map starts strong for them, because it started strong for them on the offensive, the attacking team's side of Numbani, and it was like, oh wow, that was actually faster than Creation, and then all of a sudden the picks, weren't really optimal, and they didn't get to move through the map, and yeah, they're not synergizing well. I mean, there's so many times that Numlock looks so good on his Reinhardt just because he actually has a team with him and he's got support. And then you've got Reinforce on his Reinhardt, who's basically looks like half the time he's on the other side of the map by himself, just getting picked up.
And that only works at the end of King's Row.
Everyone's not kind of, working at the same pace.
Yeah. I think that is an interesting thing to consider, though. You think about it being like one of the first offline tournaments of this game. They're set up, all 6 of them right there. Literally right in front of them is the other 6 players. And it's like, we're down 0-2. A lot of people pegged us coming into this tournament as the favorite. Okay, maybe Creation was supposed to be the contender, but we still shouldn't be down 0-2, considering the role that we've been on. So if I think it's a cool thing because none of these guys really have that experience playing in the big offline sort of stage, as it were, what you could call it.
This is basically the first offline tournament here, and if you took a look at the body language inside the booth for Rogue just now, they seem pretty calm and collected. There are a couple of questions being asked back and forth, a little bit of gesturing between the players, but nothing that suggests to me that someone's panicking inside the booth, right?
They're probably not panicking, but what I want to see them do, and what I believe that they should put into their lineup is like a Zarya or something that has a little bit more sustain. So you kind of play the same style as Creation in terms of you're bringing this kind of unit when it comes to the fight, and you're really supporting. And if you bring in like a hero like Zarya, you have the ability then to just go, and then it comes down to a lot of just these individual plays of which flashbang was good, which McCree was getting the shots, and stuff like that. So if they do want to play that, that's nice. But we're going into Route 66. And Route 66 isn't necessarily a map where on the first point it comes down to a lot of this just heavy pushing lineup. A lot of this comes down to your Widowmaker, actually.
All right, so a question for you, Nate. We're now on Route 66. It's obviously, especially the first point, a pretty narrow map, and there is potential for like funky compositions to come out. If you were to see one thing that would be really cool on 66, what would it be?
Honestly, just based on what James said, like this is a map that's very narrow as you put it, but there's only so many different areas that you're going to be coming out onto that payload, right? So that area is super wide open. And the only thing that I find to be super interesting is that Lynx has been super on top of that Widowmaker the entire match so far. So this is where I want to see AKM, who's currently on the Widow for the defense. I want to see AKM step up and make a big denial. I think if they can get a really quick shutdown onto Creation, trying to move out onto this payload at the very beginning of this map, I feel like they need that. If Creation gets a good start pushing out and they're able to get to that first checkpoint within a minute or two, like I think that's where the mental game comes into it a little bit more, and you realize, oh crap, it's happening
when
again.
you lose the first checkpoint, which is actually quite nice for the defending team, it's only the last room really where you can think you can stall somebody for 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Yep.
And yeah, it's going to be a sniper duel. So I'd love to watch Lynx and AKM battle it out, but I'm also interested as to what this Hog can do on top of.
Talk to us about the Hog. What's the idea behind the Hog on 66?
It's tanky. You can drop with it. You've got good position. You don't need to soak up a huge amount of damage because you do actually have some cover. But we haven't seen the Hog really work amazingly.
You do
so
have
far
to.
for Rogue.
You do have to expose yourself as well to get to the payload.
But it's fine. It's fine when you expose yourself as long as your team's with you.
Yeah.
Oh.
That could be taken out of context in so many different ways.
Lynx is playing a very much a flanking sniper versus this team. He knows they're all positioned up here, so he can actually go out and to the left, and he might be able to contribute to some kills.
He's just got to be so in the zone from how he's been playing, right? We've already got that recon visor about to pop, which is just going to help for a great setup moving around this gas station. And
AKM will get 2 kills, yeah. He's got to be careful about hooking up like that. AKM is probably going to be positioned to almost pick out Lynx. So AKM actually gets 2 kills. Defensive sniper, they drop down to contest the payload, and with that Hog, you know, you do a lot of damage. And the first Widowmaker ulti is up. Is there going to be a peek?
Don't
if
step
it
out.
is, it's huge.
Ooh. Well, I mean, I guess the Hog has a little bit more leeway when it comes to trying to make that peek. There's the shield to help try and cover for that. He's trying to pick off AKM, who's been making those plays that we've been talking about him, the ones that he absolutely needs. Artier does take out Unko, so the possibility for that res goes down. Of course, as he did have it available, maybe opens up the opportunity for a bit of a more forward push.
AKM at the moment going down as well. In the meantime, Reinforce actually, his loss is going to hurt a lot because now it's basically just TakeOver sort of moving up to the back. Finally, that was an excellent hook, but he needs more of that, needs that a little bit earlier on. It's going to be very difficult for him to take on the rest of the team. Where's everyone else at? Where's AKM? He's coming back into the
They're all
action.
running back, and there's a Bastion on the payload, by the way. They picked up the Bastion.
Going ham.
Just doing a huge amount of damage to everybody. Hog can actually kind of mess with Bastion. IDVQD definitely messed with him there. Did they get the checkpoint? No, they're 0.27 meters away from it, and Reinforce is on it pushing. Winter's trying to slow it down as well, but Nunlock's going to get a nice charge off, and it's just Wins that they need to swat, sorry. And they do, and they will get the first checkpoint. Not the best defense. But I don't think they would feel too bad.
I think based on what we've seen so far in this series, it could have been worse, but it's more of an even setup, so to speak, going into the next.
And this is what we were talking about with Rogue needing to sort of speed things up and change something up. James, I know you mentioned they can't necessarily come back from this because they're actually getting beaten very, very quickly here.
They can, but they need to handle a Bastion, and the way that you do that, I think, I've actually said on this point, when someone plays Bastion on cart, you actually get a Junkrat, which isn't normally
Bring
good
out
in
the
open.
rat, boys!
Yeah, it isn't normally good in open areas, but instead of taking out the Junkrat, they've got the 2 McCrees, but what they did really nicely there was burst around the side of the high side building, whatever that building does. Maybe it's
Lynx,
a bar or
Lynx
something.
gets
And,
AKM too, so opens up a little bit more of that wide area for them to try and get the picks off onto them as that shield does go up. So not able to completely break them down just yet, but the payload, it is a moving.
Bastion moving out around the side.
He's gotta be careful
with the
here,
McCree. Yeah, he can't really be handling that not in turret mode. Oh, excellent pick off on Unko there. And with the high noon coming out from Artier by the looks of things. Both sides going for that. IDQD getting there.
Sevon with the recovery to try to bring everybody back. Numlock still out of it. Artier immediately gets snapped up as well. So this looks like it should be a stimmy push. Buying a little bit more time here for Rogue. Definitely something that they need in this series as much as possible. And chasing down this thing would be a great grab if they could get him too. But the tank mode comes out, taking some shots, not getting anything just yet.
Almost getting Mercy there, but just about getting away. TakeOver now trying to get a little bit of pot shot off, but realistically this is going to be moving in time from Rogue, waiting to see when the rest of the team pops back. Artier, though, not allowing them to regroup.
That's that synergy. He looks up trying to get Lynx, and Artier's right there to capitalize on that just lack of attention. He's trying to cover all these different areas because that's kind of what this part of the map is. You can play off the top of the saloon. You have to go all the way down to move the payload forward.
So the Bastion, I do believe, cost them a little bit of time. I will say the Bastion on the first point, when they switched to it, was really nice. On the second point, because the Bastion wasn't set up very well after the first pick, I think they should have switched, and we're actually going to see one last ditch effort at the defense just to defend the second point. So far, Bastion doing actually really nice work. Unco finally gets off the first good res for him of the game, but already still having to contest the payload all by himself is wins. And eventually, if he goes down, it looks like they are going to push on, but no, AKM is going to land on it.
I mean, Nox is here with his sound barrier, but there's only so many people here for him to be able to bust it out on, so he's still just kind of holding on to it, just chilling. They've managed to get the next checkpoint, and they're going to continue to move forward. Unco and AKM respawning right now, so they have to get themselves all together. They do have a Deadeye, they do have the Earth Shatter. They have to make it all work, though, because we still have pretty much ultimates on everybody except our tier on the offensive side. And Bromas, with that tank, could be a great way to bust through the front shield, as he's already starting to pick off a lot of the shields that Ryan Force has, just trying to make this move out onto the payload.
Yeah, they're committed to moving out of that move there. Flashbang going down on Bromas, trying to kill him up, but they can't actually kill the Bastion that quickly, and that's going to make things a little bit awkward. It's 3v1 in kills in favor of Creation Esports right now.
Just going ham. Lynx does finally get picked up by AKM, but there's the res coming back, and the charge just sending him all the way back across the field.
This is a very difficult situation to be in. At least they're going to be able to spawn pretty close to the end here, so they will get plenty of opportunities to defend. But Artier at the moment not keen on letting anybody break in. Oh, and with the charge on Reinforced
Artier,
another
double.
Oh, not quite. That was a good flashbang, a great idea, but not quite executed in time.
Yeah, Tavik makes a pretty good counterplay there to shut that down. Artier was definitely getting a lot of momentum going behind him as he tries to stop Bromas moving in through the center position, but IDQD gets right on top of Numlock. He doesn't really have a lot of health left, so just runs through the shield, picks him off with a hammer, and they're going to continue to buy themselves a little bit more time. So
very important. Yeah.
They need to. They're going to get off Bromas, right? He can't be playing Bastion. There's no way that he's going to be setting up here. I mean, the Bastion's great at stopping AKM jumping in on your Widow. But yeah, the Widow has actually changed over to Azaria now on Lynx, so nice choice. I still think the Bastion might end up hurting him here.
They're looking for that big combo to try and break things down, as we do have that monkey being a little bit annoying there, AKM up top. And IDQD with another double on 7 and Bromas. Deadeye's all over, too.
I mean, there's like about 12 Deadeyes going out. Yeah, that's a very, very good res coming out of there.
Need to get rid of this Zarya fast. Oh, nice shield there, negating Tivik's flashbang. Gets the final headshot, though, on the Mouse 1, and they're going to push him away. And yeah, this is the room that we talked about, which was the final room that was hard, but Numlock's going to hit a really nice ulti. If he takes down the Mercy, Unco didn't actually have res there, but they will actually get on the payload and some momentum. So these straddle, that one... sorry, I think, I'm not sure who it was that was running away. He needs to stay alive for waiting to
get out of there.
Nope, but unfortunately he doesn't do so. So
that's
this can add a lot of momentum to the attack. And Bromas did switch off the Bastion. He went on to the McCree.
And one more stop here would definitely would have been super nice as far as the time goes. AKM is going to go with this Primal Rage to push everybody off of the payload. Everyone's continuing to move back on. I like this delay. They're trying to shoot as much of the time as possible. We do have another Deadeye coming up, but nothing big coming out of it just yet.
Yeah, that was very, very nicely played there. Managing to pick off Lynx, I think, on Zarya. Lynx actually going to be changing up and going Reaper here. Now, that's interesting because Zarya was going to be able to give them a lot more sustain. James, Lynx moving off from that kind of sustain strategy and moving on to Reaper here. Is the idea to sneak in? Because he's not realistically going to be going head-to-head with this, right?
I mean, he can still do a lot of damage to the Monkey. The Monkey doesn't really have like a big kind of task or job, but Monkeys are just always useful on defense. You actually saw AKM pop his ultimate prior and bought a lot of time for his team. Reinforced going to hit a nice
with the triple
ulti and ends up getting 2, but there comes the attacking team's res, and so far Artier just going ham, but Reinforced is going to chase him down. Numlock though chasing Reinforced. Let's see if Unco can win a 1v1 versus a Reinhardt. Don't think so. And Tivik, no one's contesting the payload.
Tivik's like, I gotta actually get over
on it, and he's just going to want to hit a flash. Oh, they're going to wait for his team to turn up before they kill him. As long as possible. So now there is no Reinhardt.
This
so
feels
really
like,
nice play.
This feels like the defense that they needed now. Even if they're able to push it over at the edge.
You mean a working defense?
Yeah. You know, and there's an actual defense here preventing them from going through. So they're going to have so much time to work with on the other side. They've done a phenomenal job so far. And I think this is the step up that we were looking for as they came by. Tivik still here with his Deadeye, so if they try to make a big push down, he has the opportunity to zone him away and might even not actually be able to get that payload through. Bromas, and them trying to move through that lower area in the choke point. There's the Deadeye trying to get them. Both players triggering the Deadeyes, but the shields are up. Absolutely nothing on IDQDs either, and still denying this as much as possible. That's going to be it as overtime hits.
Unco needs to get a res and gets it just before he dies.
Oh, man. And Bromas had the opportunity to pull the trigger a little bit sooner as well. He could have prevented the res from ever going up.
Oh, from Reinforce.
Oh, wow. That was pretty big from Reinforce there. Clutching it up, and now they're going to try and contest it once more. He goes down to Artia.
They've got a monkey coming. It's okay. They've got a monkey coming.
Is the monkey going to make it? There's IDDQD teleporting in. There's the jump in. Plants the shield on it, trying to just prevent at least that objective clear from being required as he goes. Primal Rage pushes them off. Overtime still running in, but no one else seems to be able to get close enough to that point.
Numlock now, oh no, using the ultimate, not able to follow up with it, unfortunately, as that goes down. Artia has got an ultimate available, and he's going to be using it. Can he kill off a couple of remaining? So close, both teams still on top of the payload. A complete team wipe for Rogue.
And they get it in, but
wow.
Talk about time.
Yeah.
This is going to be a grueling battle for them to stop on the other side.
They all drink their Red Bulls.
Guys, that was too much.
AKM, you're out of sync. Tivik, you're out of sync.
It's that charge at the end, right?
It's that synergy. They need to improve the. Oh man.
So to sum up that game,
triple charge.
Oh, line them up, boys! Cash money.
I mean, okay, the res there was also really sick. I think we should point out that the res and sort of momentum coming back was fantastic. What a sick charge.
All we do is criticize Ryan Force, so I give him a shout out for that one. It was a great play.
So to kind of recap that game and how it went down, the first point, again, Link's amazing on aggressive sniper, on attacking team sniper. The Bastion worked out fantastically, and actually Artia went all the way around the back by himself and got some kills, and that was kind of the momentum switch that Artia created. He played that flanking McCree, and then the Bastion was like, okay, I'm really strong. I'm a great Bastion. The defense on the second point. The defense on the second point was really well executed. They didn't attack down the road. They came behind the building, the Rogue Esports, so they nullified the Bastion doing a lot of damage, and they took him out. And then I was just like, okay, you're playing Bastion and you've got an ulti. And Bromas was like, I've got an ultimate. It's going to be awesome. He must, I don't know what he was doing, because he stayed on that Bastion, and actually the fight went back and forth a few times because the Bastion wasn't able to set up. No. There was a couple of really nice plays when a Deadeye was used, and I think it was IDDQD or Tivik actually flashbanged the high ground and stopped it. But the Bastion did cost them some time. So I felt if they...
I was waiting there for the Zarya Shield Bastion combo, because I didn't feel like that had... There was a small period of time where the Bastion could have set up and be shielded and gain like those extra 2 or 3 seconds at the start of a fight. I was looking for it. I was observing, looking for it. It never really came, though.
I just felt they just wanted to run in, use his ultimate, like push everyone away as Bastion. Just spend your ultimate like really early on in the fight, and then just get the support you need. And everyone kind of would naturally run away if they felt that they could get hit by Bastion.
Yeah, you don't want to eat those tank shells.
And then maybe you set up again on the payload, but they didn't get the Bromaster set up well enough. So. They finished the map. It was the time would get up on the screen.
It was 9:56.
9:56
total match time.
And you would expect the aggressive team of Rogue to take this map. They like playing stuff like Tracers, and Tracers were amazing on this map when it was part of the God comp, and they're going to go back to a little bit of a similar God comp. No tank, 2 soldiers, and 2 Tracers. So this is.
Talk to me about what Ryan Force is doing here with the Symmetra, though.
He's just giving additional shield to the Tracers and the soldiers.
Yeah, this is a bit more unusual to see them on the attacking team, I suppose. But you're right, maybe those additional...
No, it's an old school strat that goes with Tracers.
But that was old school, like when Symmetra had 50 shields, right?
Yeah, but it can still work.
All right,
the thing that's a little bit troubling is maybe they've only got 1
so
Lucio.
It's just a bit more sustained for the harass then, for anyone that maybe doesn't quite understand how Symmetra can work on offense.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the healing from Lucio, they've got the extra shields, and Link's actually going down very early on Widowmaker there as well. Artia trying to make this work from taking the high ground point of view, and Creation Esports now just moving on top of the building, trying to brain it down. And I like the positioning as well for Numlock. It's just phenomenal.
I love that they forced him to come down off that high ground position. They're like, yes, we are all camping on this payload so hard, and Numlock's just like, I want to kill you, but I just can't get close enough, too fast. does run into him. IDD Cutie with a great pick off there on Bromas and Numlock.
This is so good. They played the soldiers really, really well because they used the payload for a lot of cover, and it gives a tiny bit of healing as well. And Tivik were actually able to just be like, okay, we're doing constant damage. And then the Tracers were turning everybody, as you expect they should. And so far, it's been fantastic. That drop down, they coordinated one kill, but it didn't really matter so much. And already the Tracers are moving really, really far forward. And Bromas now switching up to the Bastion.
So they're moving at a great pace, though, right?
Bastion isn't invincible versus soldiers, by the way. You can spam the Bastion with pretty well from a distance.
Yeah.
This isn't a safe Bastion.
You can lead the shots against him pretty well.
There's no time for Bastion to get set up. He's getting into good positions, but he needs those extra couple of seconds.
Even if he got set up, your soldiers can play around it a little bit.
Yeah. The mobility is definitely in favor here of Rogue in terms of where their horses can actually go.
They're going to get pushed back. Tivik does have his ultimate available on Soldier, so that'll be a difference maker potentially. They've got 2 Winstons now on defense, so you're going to have to wonder how they're going to play around that. Tracers are actually very good versus Winstons, but of course you've got to watch out just mainly for the McCree being able to lock you down. I say Tracers are good versus Winstons because you don't end up fighting
is,
them a lot of time.
Is a lot of it about the shields, though, just kind of stopping those low damage shots from super far away, right? You don't have quite that burst of the McCree.
And Artia now, oh hang on, is that Tavik? That is Tavik with the recon visor. He gets taken out by Lynx. Lynx missing a shot to start off the engagement, but getting a couple of kills since. Both teams now really trying to struggle to go ahead and capture that ground point, but we do have Rogue mainly coming up from the above.
So what's happening is the soldiers don't actually have any protection. So when Creation Esports want to go, their McCree's are god mode with the help from the Winstons. And of course you've got Lynx that's got high ground position. So the soldiers are pretty worthless. They're actually going to switch off into a McCree and a Winston.
That single shot damage from the McCrees is giving them a lot better when they're both playing without the crazy amount of defense.
Yeah, you can't play a DPS without some sort of support a lot of times, especially a soldier that kills slowly. Yeah, so they're going to switch. The game plan is now changed. They've got 1 monkey to try and handle Lynx, and then the rest is just push the payload, win the payload fight.
Almost got him there. There's the sound barrier coming in there for Rogue as they continue to move this payload forward. They've been slowed down a little bit more at this position. IDD Cutie running up towards the side, trying to snap him up from below, but can't quite get him. Bromas still able to get a little bit of that peppering from afar, but I mean, like you said before, no support. He can't really sit here by himself, and their monkey's just going to jump right on top of him.
Very, very... I mean,
you see that flying at you.
Yeah.
It's Ogre.
Why is Lynx on Junkrat? Is he drunk?
It's because I told him earlier before we started.
The rat.
This morning I walked in and I was like, yo, man, I just love that you respect the rat.
Well, he's gone on Junkrat because he's getting pressured on the Widow. But now if you get an an attacking team Widowmaker, you're in a really good spot because they don't have anything that can actually challenge you. So I would love to see AKM get off that monkey. But he has got quite a bit of ultimate available, and he's going to move in and try and build it up. He's up to almost 90%. See if he can get his ulti off.
Pretty much there. He's going to jump straight forward. Actually being able to hit 2 of them at the same time with that Tesla cannon as well. The Primal Rage is ready, but didn't quite get any use of it. There's the knockdown. And with that res, opportunity still lies.
Oh, Reinforce just getting the heck out of dodge there, and that not a whiff charge, just making sure he can stay with the rest of his team so that Rogue can get in.
And he switches off the rat back.
Yeah, he should have.
They have 5 minutes to complete this now. This is looking...
They've got so much time.
Well, this is a ridiculously hard room. We saw it last time. They don't have a defensive Winston, which is amazing here on defense. They actually opted to keep the soldier. Bromas almost has ulti, watching Lynx, and he's probably going to die here unless he gets help. The second jump will maybe get the kill.
Looking from the Deadeye, but nothing to be seen. Tries to get the throw over the shield on Numlock. Not quite there as the target visor gets activated. Is going to be able to pick off Unko and win. And going straight through IDD Cutie, so a great sweep and clear there.
And at the moment, just both teams really kind of brawling it out. That was an excellent first volley, but unfortunately the flashbang not hitting for Tavik there. Wow, great left click on Nox, and he gets the headshot off.
It knocks him up. He's going to be so sad about that.
That feeling you fall down on the payload.
Oh man, and the payload is so close. There's the revive as well. Tavik in the thick of the action with a Deadeye available, looking for that quick reload. Lucio giving him a hard time. He's getting on top from the high ground there, looking for a couple of kills, and he gets
here with the deny, picking off Tavik and AKM at the same time. Was Ryan Fords comes in, but Numlock is buying so much space, and there's 2 on the payload. They're so close to getting in, and they still have almost 4 minutes to work with.
Nice res. from Unko there. That's going to bring up the majority team. This Bastion's not going to do much. And
that sound barrier could give it to
them.
They're coming out. They've got it mostly cleared. Lynx is going to run out here with the Dragon Blade and gets rid of wins on Unko, but doesn't seem like it's going to be enough to stop them just yet. They're still right on top of it. Nox is just delaying as much as he can, dancing on it, but they're all dead.
Yeah, Bromas on Tracer is trying to duck in and out, but it's going to be very, very difficult from this point onwards. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Goodbye.
Still not the win, though. Still not the win.
Ooh,
Artier gets the kill. This defense has actually been a little bit ridiculous. Maybe
considering how close it is, that they're able to buy this much time. Tries to get the bomb over the shield, but not quite there. So Rainforest gets a little bit of a breather as Numlocked is here. Nox going off to the left side, and they're pushing them back. They're actually getting a bit aggressive. Bromas on the high ground as well, throwing those shurikens.
So you got 3 minutes. You've got your res available. You've got your Primal Rage available. But you've got to, I mean, I'm worried about the fact that this Genji can do a lot with the ultimates, and then the ultimate's up, and pretty much the ultimate last time helped him keep the fight on the defense. And then comes the attacking team's res.
Okay, and now in this position, are we likely to be panicking as Rogue here? Do we want to be changing up the composition to really get this over the finish line? James, do you think they need to be changing anything?
No, they have a good comp.
They got 2.5.
Ooh, that was from downtown.
Great charge on top of him as most of Creation still standing strong here, possibly on the verge of this 3-0. They still need to buy 2 more minutes. I mean, the stops that they've been making have been brilliant, but you talked about this before. All the ultimates are on the side right now of Rogue. They've got the Dead Eye, they've got
and
the
they want to come in
Scatter.
for the right-hand side because it's a lot safer if you're going to use ultis.
High Noon coming down from, I think, Artier used it very
Oh,
quickly.
deny on ID Cutie. Artier's been on top of that this entire time, almost getting wins as well, who's just been dancing around on top of the payload, picks off Ryan Force, and just making plays is Artier. Gets the flash off on the Primal Rage, but it still procs fast enough, and Tvik manages to shut him down.
They're doing a very, very good job there of just constantly soaking up the damage. I think I need to call out AKM as well, who must have eaten so many bullets right now, popping the Primal Rage, still continuing to take more damage, just constantly keeping the team in this fight. And even though we're so close to the spawn of Creation Esports, really making this and taking it all the way.
Minute 40 to go as the res comes in. Tvik gets Numlocked, IDDQT gets Nox, and they've managed to also deny Dracias here. So the aggressive side have finally found another opportunity to try to push it in, but there is with the Reflect Genji coming in, picked off. Lynx has been denied, and they should be able to get it in here. They've had more than enough time.
It's the win.
That's the map win.
Wow.
that last minute defense, though.
Okay, so I have to give a lot of credit to Tvik and also AKM on the final point. The biggest problem they had on the final point wasn't so much the Tracer and the Genji, because you can actually position. You have nothing that they really want to kill in the back apart from your Mercy, because they didn't have the Widow. So it was actually Artier that was just destroying them. So AKM and Tvik were like, wait a minute, what's going on? And they started chasing Artier more. And as soon as they killed Artier, you noticed that the Tracer and the Genji weren't like a huge factor because there wasn't that kind of burst damage. I know Tracer can still do a lot, but you've got a shield and you ended up getting a nice res and they took the point. But yeah, a little bit close. I felt that they actually should have won the first time that they were pushing to the end.
I think that's something you called out, James, that we really need to give Artier a bit more credit for. It's very...
He was huge.
So Overwatch is a game that's so fast-paced that if you choose to go and flank a team, it's not like... Take CS, for example, where it might be a commitment of a couple of players over the next 10 or 20 seconds. Artier is looking to flank every 3 or 4 seconds, and he knows the team can see him. He's waiting for a good opportunity to sneak in, and when he does sneak in, he's able to get damage done within the first 5 or 10 seconds. It's just really, really good how he constantly does that.
I mean, and he flanked a few times, and when he does it, it worked. But yeah, you saw there his 2 prior kills were on the 2 quite crucial points that helped him get through. I still don't know why the bashing came out so much. Tvik went pretty big for him, and Reinforce as well in the final moments. Numlock there getting his ulti off. But that
Reinforce and Numlock both had a lot of big moments in this match, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really get quick kills onto the Reinhardts unless you want to use your McCree on it. So you'll end up naturally getting a lot of hits and the ability to throw ultimate here and there, and it is pretty huge. Lynx, this ultimate was so nice in terms of the kills that he was able to get with it, just because it helped just enough. If he didn't get any of those kills, they would have actually just been able to push and
with
have
that
sustain.
first big attack.
Without wins there, they didn't actually have the healing available. And AKM, like him chasing and getting kills in the final moments and working really well with Tavik. These shields, they're absolutely massive. So even though this res came in, some of the people that ended up dying were too far away, and I think one of them was actually the Genji. So the way that the chasing that AKM did on his Winston was really good, and I'm glad he kept that hero, because if he went for like a Widow, even though Widows are really good on the final point, I think they would have had even less success and maybe not won the game.
You're in such a confined space when the payload has almost reached its destination. You're not in a position where you're thinking, hang on a second, you know, we can fall. Let's fall back.
There's
and
no
pick off
falling
someone
back.
else. There is no falling back. You have to engage the Winston. And AKM did such a good job as well of okay, we did actually see him once where it's like, and now he can hit primal range, and he died on 40 hit points. But I think that was literally the only time he didn't do that. He soaked up so much in the last couple of minutes.
I wish he did hit primal rage though, because we were watching him and I was like, this is huge. This
is going to be big.
If he hit primal rage, Reinforce on the Reinhardt was actually ultied afterwards, but was unable to complete, you know, get the kills.
They couldn't
Imagine the
capitalize
momentum they would have had with that primal rage, but they used it a little bit later. And we're going to be moving into, this is our 4th map here between these two in the winner bracket finals. The winner of this best of 5 series in creation are on match point. We're moving to the grand finals. The loser will wait for the 2 other teams to play in our lower bracket, which are currently Melty Esports, the guys from France, and then the mixed team, which is Graviton Surge. Not really mixed team, but they're from everywhere, including, everywhere in Europe. The country of Europe,
the country of Europe.
That's what I'm supposed to say.
So, so creation still looking good, but I think Rogue, that was the confidence boost that they needed, and now they might feel a little bit more comfortable going in. I would hope so to this map. They've had. Just
say though, this has also just been a really good match to watch. Just in terms of the back and forth that's been going on, the plays, I think they've been really good. I've been especially enjoying Lynx's Widow play in this match entirely. It's been a super big factor, I feel. Across the board.
And as much as I love first person, I have to say, Jurasa, I'm coming over to your side a little bit, because in that final room,
it's tricky.
If we went third person, I would have actually like not had a seizure.
It is.
But Jurasa, you're doing a great job.
All of the lights.
I was doing this solo on Tuesday, and I was trying to work out what the correct balance between first and third is. It really depends actually on how the players play. You don't go this map for this position, you go first person, you go third person. It depends on the hero.
When we get that fight again, we'll have to break out the Rave Doge.
Double Widow.
Double Widow, which actually makes the soldier pretty weak, and you've got a Hanzo with it. So they actually scouted with the Hanzo there, you saw, just to see if there was anybody above the bridge. Now there isn't. They're just going to move this, and you want to get it to first point. But Tavik on Hanzo is huge, and I don't think Bromas is going to have too much of an impact, because they're not really going to want to start fighting until they get picks.
James, now that they're just comfortably going past the first point, is it still right to be sticking on the Hanzo plus Double Widow? Are Rogue going to be regretting this?
No, it's fine. You get the first point and you take high ground. You get picks.
Bromas going for the flank here, though, trying to get a bit of a position as AKM and Unko looking to get that Widow shot up. But Bromas, snap it up, Unko and IDDQD. And AKM should be able to take the 1v1, but gets snapped up anyway.
Yeah, I said Bromas wasn't going to be a huge factor, and then he completely proved me wrong by flanking, which is the right thing, because I was thinking, like, if you stand back and defend your team from high ground, like most players do on Soldier, you're not going to get much done. And he actually decided, no, this isn't going to work, starts to flank and helps pick up 3 kills. So they're still going to stay with the double Widow. Bromas, agrees, hopefully, with that analysis, and switches over to a Winston to challenge the Widows.
And right now, moving underneath the bridge for the next point. We're trying to go ahead and squeeze in on the ground. What's happening in the meantime up above, though? Oh, wow, that was a huge charge coming out from Nunlogged. And it looks like they're actually coming from up above. We have 2 players, including Lynx, actually, flanking from behind, and he's going to be able to get a good amount of damage done on Widow. Trying to face off against IDDQD, though, 1v1 is tricky.
You got to be so careful there, especially if that flashbang comes out.
It's a small room, man.
That's really weird. He used his recon visor really early, which isn't particularly great, because what you actually want to do is wait so you know when the Widow's back. But he uses it early and actually goes aggressive, doesn't get anything from it, and now AKM is going to have his ulti, so this could go back in favor of AKM can get a pick.
He actually has the recon visor for the part of the game where they'll actually be fighting each other.
Well, I don't think it was ideal for Lynx to try and make that move. And if he gets the pick on Lynx, Lynx pretty much, I'm just going to say, like, using the recon visor in that situation, knowing that you killed the team roughly at the same time, that lost them the first point.
Yeah, and that was absolutely phenomenal shooting there for AKM to just bang, bang, boom, wrap up that point and get the payload on the way through the shuttle room, which is, as we've seen, has been so crucial. TakeOver snapping up Lynx, though, denying the possibility for them to try to use that sniper. And I feel like with the momentum that they're carrying, if they continue to rush straight through this shuttle room, that's just going to avoid them probably one of the biggest headaches that we've talked about at this tournament of playing on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
This is really, really good push in because we have to give time for Creation Esports to actually regroup. They can't just rush back into the shuttle room because they need that coordinated effort, because Rogue are already in there and they're resident. That's a good pick up IDDQ. The AKM managing to get the return kill, and we have the Widowmaker on top of the shuttle now trying to do as much damage as possible from up above. There is is that Bromass at the moment? No, it's not actually. TakeOver completing that high noon, but not actually getting anyone. IDDQD, on the other hand, managing to do a good amount of damage down below.
I mean, I like Nox dropping down, delaying this payload moving a little bit, trying to get some time for his team to get into position, but they've passed the halfway point here of the shuttle room. They don't have Numlock, they don't have Lynx with them to help hold this, or Nox, so the aggro heroes by themselves aren't going to be able to stop this payload, so they should be able to move out of the shuttle room without too much more trouble.
AKM looking for a couple of quick picks to see if he can spot it out. Lynx, though, on the other side.
And it's going to go in favor of AKM. So
but the rest of the team, in the meantime, man, that's a big res potentially, because the team are kind of in the same place. There is potential to use that coordinated effort, but a really nice way to blunt the attack, using the Deadeye straight away from IDDQD to buy themselves a little bit of time, but he's going to have to fall back anyway, as Rogue once again are forced to regroup.
This is really bad now for Rogue. They were so close to taking that.
Yeah.
I wish, if AKM was, wishing that he picked up the Lucio on that first snipe that he threw out, because this is the first time on the shuttle room that the defensive team Creation have control, which gets really, really dangerous. The only thing that they have in their advantage, Rogue, going into this fight, is that there is an ultimate on Unco, but they have to get Unco into a safe position where they can use it, and already IDDQ are going to go down, and they're going to die for the payload. This could work out as long as they can pick up IDDQ in time. And so far, Reinforce is going to die. Unco, where is he? He's got to be looking for the res soon.
Numlock's just unleashing absolute hell.
They're waiting
here,
for the res.
Unco
That's what they're playing for.
With the triple res, so trying to make the next play back off of that, as they do have the sound barrier popped here for Creation, though. So everybody's still standing strong on top of the point, and once again stymieing the flow of this aggressive play.
Yeah. So they played their one advantage, which was they had a Mercy res, and they actually sent the Mercy down underneath, and they died in a staggered way. I actually started telling teams, some of the people that I give advice to, is like, if you notice that there's no Mercy and it's obvious that they're trying to die, kill them slowly, so the chances are that they might not be able to res everybody just because of that. Yeah. Just take out the DPS and leave some of the others actually available, so the respawn timer goes. But so far, didn't work out for them on their offense. They're going to challenge the high ground with AKM, and not going to work.
And right now, there's just not very much DPS coming in the way for Rogue. So even though they're holding a position here, what are they realistically going to be doing with that position where they can't actually deal the damage to back it up? There's nothing left, even though they're still alive in the shuttle room.
This defense has really muddled things up here for Rogue. I think what you were saying earlier, James, is so big. They had them on the run. There was a lot of chaos. They didn't have a position where they could set up defensively. And now Creation's been able to get these 6-man stacks on top of the shuttle, where they're basically saying, okay, you want to jump here and try to fight? That's fine. Anybody else wants to move straight through the bottom, well, we can just rain hell on you from above pretty easily.
The way that I would counter this is actually bring in a Tracer or a Genji. It sounds stupid, but if you actually want to challenge the top of the shuttle or the position that they're fighting on, you can always send in a Tracer to actually just move straight on the shuttle and then force the fight from up here on the top. So if they don't drop down on the shuttle, they aren't going to, you have to stop the Tracer or the Genji. So they're not going to do that. Obviously, TakeOver does have his ultimate available, so we'll see how well that goes for him. As he is getting the kills, as Jurasar desperately tries to find him.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is. We found him.
Gets a wall up through. I mean, Lynx tried to make the fancy play jumping up too with their grappling hook and wasn't able to capitalize on that either. So TakeOver steps out, picks off Dragius, gets Bromas, and this flank working beautifully as they move to get that payload out. They have hit that checkpoint and getting ready to go for the final home stretch, and also getting Numlock trying to run away there too.
First Bromas, now Tavik, the second really crucial Soldier 76 flank of this game. That was beautiful, getting 3 kills and basically half the charge on his ultimate.
And we should stay with Tavik as well, because he's just so good at tracking on Soldier. And even though you've got 2 McCrees that you're up against, Tavik's aim's so good that from mid-range, long-range, I wouldn't be surprised if these McCrees would start having a pretty hard time. And Unco obviously putting a lot of attention here onto Tavik, boosting him in the majority of the fight. So if they win this little push around the corner, RTA is going to get his High Noon off for 1 kill onto AKM. The other one was used by Bromas to no avail. In comes the res. Now let's see if Rogue on the offense can actually start turning this.
Oh no, he dies the second time straight away.
Going to get 3 kills back to back.
Yeah, I think he took Tavik out as the first kill. He just absolutely wiped them, and that was pretty big because the revive on the high ground for Soldier 76 could have meant Tavik would do a lot of damage.
Yeah, so a reasonable amount of time burned through here. Not the fastest, not the slowest push that they've been able to make on Gibraltar, considering it is the longer map as far as the payload goes. We do have now Rogue coming out reinforced, leading the way with that shield. He's got AKM in tow. He's got Tavik being charged up as well by Unco.
Yeah, they switched their comp as well. They're going to be going on the double McCree and also Monkey. So the Monkey is meant to create room so you can get a really good Mercy res off, but already Lynx picks up the Mercy, and to me that's almost the attack over unless just the McCrees do the McCree things. And so far, IDDQD and Tavik actually hitting a huge amount of shots, and not only shots, headshots as well.
Tavik hitting from the side too, just causing a lot of chaos, saying, well, we're trying to look at the point, we're trying to look at the payload, but we got to look all the way over to the side as well where we're getting hammered from, and that is going to open things up for Rogue to push this most of the rest of the way that it has to go. Link steps out immediately hit by that flashbang. What are you going to do? Plants the shield right in front of the spawn. They're going to come out of the other side.
There's a res from underneath,
throws the Earth Shatter, knocks down Reinforce and Lynx, but not too much else they're going to be able to do, just stalling as much as possible.
Right now, we're not actually moving too much away from the comp. A lot of heroes just moving out and trying to stop the payload. We need actually one more hit.
Push it.
Push it real
there
good.
It is.
Oh, and that's the sacrifice to buy that extra second, but that is going to be that. We managed to push the payload on the part of Rogue. Let's take a look at what the time was.
So that would have been a really amazing defense if Lynx could actually reflect. The main reason being, Lynx wanted to reflect the flashbang, and the flashbang actually went behind him. The reason it could have been an amazing defense was because they purposely kept their Mercy in the base underneath for a res. But because Lynx was unfortunately dead early, if Lynx just wanted to get on the payload.
The death was literally
like, he was like, I'm going to reflect you, I might do some damage, I'm going to dash to the payload, and I'm going to jump around. Everyone else is also going to join me. We'll probably get a kill or 2, and then we're going to throw in, hopefully, we wouldn't want necessarily a 5-man res, but you might end up with a 5-man res, and it would delay the team. So it's still good to finish this map, especially since they, I would say, got a little bit unlucky with a 909 finish, just because of how close they were in the shuttle room to getting through.
Yeah, that would have made it I mean, think about how much extra time they were actually held on in the shuttle room. It was something like 2 or 3 full minutes there, right?
Yeah,
and that's the difference.
It's painful.
909 it's not the slowest time in the world. It's really nowhere close to the fastest time in the world. It's very beatable. So that it's a vulnerable time. They have to be on their toes.
They have certainly put a challenge forward on the other side, as it were, for trying to get this map. Of course, it means a lot more to Rogue as they do want to tie the match up.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And the big recap for me there on the defense. First point, Lynx used his recon visor too early.
Yep.
And that actually is a huge mistake. You need to use that when you know you can get a Widow, if you're playing against a Widow, so you can see the Widow coming back. If you use it to get a pick, it doesn't always go in your favor because the Widow will potentially pick you, especially when you're playing without a shield. So Lynx unfortunately lost on the first point. Sorry to put any blame. I know they're all playing amazing, and Lynx is worthy of saying why they're here as well in the winner bracket finals. And then the second point, AKM unfortunately didn't get the pick that he wanted, but I think that was just a good defense overall from Creation. And then the final point as well, you got to give it to those McCrees. IDDQD and Tavik really were the ones that made that happen.
The shutdown in the shuttle room was super big. You pointed out not being able to get the Lucio at the end there for the big buff at the end, because they were so close to getting it through the shuttle room very, very quickly. They had a lot of momentum.
He got greedy, because the thing is, if you miss the Lucio and you know there's a sniper, like, I know you really want to kill the sniper, but at the same time, you can back off and just go help fight in the room where you need to get the kills.
Just went too far
because
forward.
You want to kill what to contest the payload. Because if they can't contest the payload, you're winning.
It is literally the actual objective.
It is actually
killing people is fun. Stopping the payload a little bit more important.
Yeah. So they're going to be playing offense Bastion again. So it's going to be a bit of a slow push, and already they're going to scout. They'll probably switch Lynx over to a Widow now, maybe after the scout.
Oh. And that was a pretty short-lived bastion there, as the guys really looking forward to collapsing and seeing if they can do as much damage as possible. That was a good bit of healing there, not allowing TakeOver to get those extra kills off. And unfortunately, as this game starts, Rogue are basically going to get completely shut down. And that's actually, I think that's getting the free push beyond the middle.
Yeah, I was
going to
say,
as well, right?
we've talked about this. Most of the time, they're willing to give up the first point here, and then they want to defend this upper area.
But they need to get in place in time.
Yeah.
If they died,
they've got to watch out for links on the high ground.
That's going to be the tricky part, is not getting messed up a little bit too much. Throws the fire.
They're going to server room. Yeah, this is smart. So they're going to be in server room, which is fine, because there's no big chokes that you can get caught off. So they forced links away. They've got in server room. They're pretty well set up, but of course they did feed a little bit of ultimates, and the ultimate that they really fed is Numlocked on his Reinhardt. So we'll see how that's going to come into play. So I think they're going to be pretty confident just pushing the payload here, Creation, and using that ultimate.
Trying to pick off TakeOver up here on the high ground, throwing them arrows. Not really finding too much. The heals, of course, working very well for that soldier on the high ground. So holding on reasonably well. We're going to see the res come in to bring back Numlock, trying to help bring the push straight up towards the ramp. But they're still holding the server room, and there comes the Dragon. Getting AKM.
Nox actually picking up a couple of kills in the middle of that as well. Also getting Unko at the end of it. That's actually going to be pretty big. But Unko did just use a res, only 3% on that. TakeOver now getting in on the action as well. He's going to be healing up. And in the meantime, IDDQD stuck in the middle of a rock and a hard place. That is going to hurt.
Yeah, slapped by the hammer. And RTR coming out, trying to run back over to help set this up. Bromas does have his Deadeye available. Numlock does have his Earth Shatter. And we'll have the res and the barrier very soon as well for Nox and Dresia. So they're both doing very well. Now they're going to go into the shuttle room. This is where we see what's the setup looking like. We do have 2 Deadeyes available, but IDQD does go down. So it's just AKM with the 1 to try to zone this position.
It's the 1 support as well, because Lucio died and he's actually on his way back. So Unko there wins is not, as things currently stand.
They're trying to keep momentum on Creation, just to not let everybody set up here. And really that's for Lynx. If they don't let the people set up, Lynx just gets stronger and stronger. Because while there's people running around like AKM, you can see him almost trying to juke. You know, he's a potential kill just for Lynx to pick off.
Yeah, Bromas is going to step forward here, looking to pick off Reinforce. Does manage to snap him up and pick it on the high ground. So TakeOver still rocking away with that soldier, as the Deadeye is going to get triggered. Not finding too much, does get Lynx.
So
they stimmy the pressure, stop the forward press, and buying a little bit more time here in this shuttle room, which, as we saw, was where everything kind of went wrong for Rogue on their aggressive side for this map.
Oh, and Adia switching over to Genji now, so looking to get a little bit more, perhaps, maneuverability in the air in the shuttle room.
Yeah, and a monkey to join him. So they want to challenge high ground, but this is really dangerous. Look how far the Mercy is stood back. There's no way you're getting on the Mercy.
Yeah, Bromas getting up in their business, but not able to accomplish too much. Tactical Visor is available, looking dropping down onto Nox. Sound Barrier is going to get procced at the same time, charging forward. Reinforce not able to find too much, knocked down on their own by Numlock. And still, good cleanup, all things said and done for Rogue, stopping the pressure from Creation again. RTR trying to buy a little bit of time with that Reflect, but it's not going to be enough.
So they're sending 2 people high ground, and that's really not enough if you're going to challenge. So they're going to switch in another monkey. They're going to take away the Reinhardt, doesn't really offer that much. RTR going to go still onto the Genji. So Lynx is pretty much like, please make them drop. I will shoot stuff. That's great. But the problem they have is that Unko stood so far back behind a shield that the monkeys can't actually get to him. And one of the monkeys going to go even aggressive. AKM just pushing the team, dropping a shield at the door. But Unko, great position here, and there's no way really for the offensive Mercy to get a res unless it's on the payload.
Now the monkeys jump up with the shield, try to push them off the top of the shuttle, at least offset this position so they can open up an opportunity to go in from somewhere else. And then Numlock's going to drop down onto the payload. They managed to get rid of Drazius. They're trying to get rid of Bromas. They get him as well. So now they're finally starting to get a little bit of something going here. But is it going to be enough? Most of the defending team still standing tall.
Currently doing a very good job. Needs to be careful, though, inside that shuttle itself. IDDQD coming in, a fantastic flash and fan inside, because at the end of the day, in that sort of enclosed space, those McCrees really shine and are really able to do an awful lot of damage. And once again, Creation are having to think of a potential plan B. So the double monkey, it got them some inroads on top of the shuttle, though, James, even though they didn't win the fight.
Yeah, they got on top of the shuttle, but I don't think they got the res off. They lost their Mercy early. The Mercy can follow the monkeys on top of the shuttle pretty well, Savon, playing the Mercy for Creation, and they're going to do the same again. So they're going to probably pop ultis, push people down. If they get the high ground, this could be huge just because, well, you are capable of actually getting a good res, and we're still going to watch Bromas actually just chase. So the double monkeys.
He did get Tavik as well, and he had that tactical visor available as well. So removing that ultimate from the equation here as they continue to press forward. There's the drop down, getting ready to push everybody off. Numlock as well assisting in a big way, trying to get this. There's the Primal Rage, pushing everybody off the objective. Everybody else is going to come running up here from Rogue to try and get back onto the objective. Lynx, a little bit too far away to be a part of this equation.
Primal Rage available though.
Tavik coming back into the fight now as well. Here we go. That's the tactical visor being activated, getting a couple of fantastic shots off, but not quite getting the kill just yet. Looking for Artia, finding Artia, demolishing Artia.
Nice.
Good res as well. Even though you pick up only like one person off a res, you want to pick them up now so you can help get everybody into position and get that kind of lock on this room. So just resing one person, if it's really important, like it was, it's a good move from Anko.
Just about 3 minutes to go as Primal Rage gets activated by Numlock, trying to get something moving here as that payload still stuck close to the exit, but not quite there. IDDQT taking some shots at Lynx, but with that heal on the Mercy is not going to be enough. Lynx jumps up, gets flashbanged, and still manages to take a little bit of a trigger. Didn't die instantly, so that's something.
Wow, that's a duel and a half.
Great
here, and
Lynx against IDDQT.
8 hit points.
That's
Damn.
embarrassing. And that's going to also now put in an extra 2 kills or 1 kill for the team of Creation. So had IDDQD kind of stabilized that situation on the flashbang, he could have actually come in and helped his team with a much more, adding that McCree damage.
They have to give up on the point.
So
they can't.
They break out.
It didn't happen.
They break out with 2.5 minutes to go. They need to make it all the way down this final stretch. We saw it in the last push. The last side of things, it was a big push that able to set themselves up for that. They take out Bromas immediately, which is going to slow down the push out here from Creation Esports, and Tavik's going to reposition on the top side.
Yeah, so a lot of this is really about stopping Lynx from doing Lynx things on his Widow, because he just gets really strong when he starts hitting. They don't have on their defense that kind of stability, so it's a lot of it is up to the monkey of AKM. Tavik can stand up here, and that stops the Widow from getting into a nice position. And already from doing that, Lynx, hasn't been that useful.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love that. He tries to get into the position to pick off Sings, but then, the Angry Monkey comes straight over to push him away. Does snap Lynx there at the bare end. Gets the Hammer Fan after the stun onto Numlock. So another shutdown on the aggression. We're at 7:18 now, so 2 minutes to go as this match gets closer and closer to its conclusion.
And I think, James, you pointed out something really important. Tavik basically there to make sure that Lynx...
Stop the Widow.
Yeah.
Stop the Widow from getting up there and creates a crossfire.
Lynx was still trying to look at him, even though he was getting hit by a monkey as well. I mean, that was about as good as it got.
And Recon Visor is going to be wasted now if he doesn't get the kill off this.
AKM went up there at the perfect time, and here he comes straight back up again. RTR is going to pop that Deadeye, manages to get Tavik. And at the same time, also going with a rolling forward, getting IDDQT.
Wow.
And Bromas summon up. Bromas and RTR, two hot guns over here, pushing their way towards the end of the point.
That was incredible from Creation. That was really, really good. And now they're basically getting a free dogleg towards the final point. That was huge. And they've also got the high ground as well. So Lynx, with that damage boost, is going to be able to try and pick people up as they come out. And they can't afford to sit slowly behind a Reinhardt shield. Excellent stun. Beautiful negation of the charge. And Lynx now, I mean, look at this.
Lynx gets to do what he does best, and they take the point 3-1.
Wow, very nicely played there. Lynx on the high ground. A lot of this half of the map came down to the back and forth in the shuttle room again.
Yeah, I think the monkeys were just a huge unit for them in this, in terms of how that hero in terms of how that helped with the momentum. But really, it was the McCrees and what they were capable of doing.
They shut down so much, and we saw a lot of those big plays with the monkeys trying to jump up on top of the shuttle to dislodge them from that position that they were holding super well. Because once they got the first attack stuck, they were all working together like we talked about. They held a great position, and it was a tough break, but once they got rolling fast.
Look at how big Reinforces. He dwarfs everyone else in the room. I'd be nervous shaking his hand after he's lost.
That's why we were talking about him.
Hope he's not pissed off, man.
He's a softie. But I have to say, Bromas, that kill onto Tivik at the end, I'm not sure how he removed him, whether it was just a good mid-range headshot up onto Tivik, or if it was a Deadeye that Tivik actually was trying to juke in and out of to get some additional damage. That one kill was just really, really, I would say crucial going into the final push around the corner.
And keeping the Widowmaker occupied as well. I mean, there were quite a lot of things that did well. Bromas with the initial flank, taking a look there. Now we have, that is beautiful.
Yeah, this was a great way for them to take that first point. They got so much done. You were talking about that had a lot to do with the Recon Visor being popped too early by the other side.
Yeah.
And this was that fantastic flank. He got 3 kills off the back of this. He's not going to be done, and he's got the healing down as well. There's not a lot that the opposing team can do when they're in that position, and the rest of the team are there as well. It's not like it's just 1v3. They have to focus on where the bulk of the enemies are, and Soldier 76 is just left to do his thing. Really, really nice. And now Tavik, again, I mean, he's done an awful lot of damage throughout the entirety of especially the shuttle. I think...
yeah, the shuttle room actually looked really good for Soldier. Normally you see, I would say, still the majority of McCree's playing, but the McCree's really were the highlight here at the end. RTR and Bromas on that final push.
Yeah,
I mean, on top of Nunlock's ultimate, yeah, it was a big win. And Unco, I think he got caught, and I'm not even sure if he had res available. I don't think he did. So it wouldn't have really mattered. And you do require, yeah, it's a big ask for a Soldier to take down 4 people if the Soldier was alive, because it's that constant damage, that crossfire that you're using. But AKM, I felt, played great on his Monkey, but really Creation showing us, why they came into this tournament. A lot of people were saying, yeah, this is Creation. They're the best team coming in. And a 3-1 victory in the winners' finals.
Phenomenal match.
Have a seat, guys.
Numlock is like texting his mum right now. He's like,
we did it.
I won.
We did it.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got 2. Awesome. All right. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Well, understandably great. I mean, I think let's talk Watchpoint Gibraltar first, because we were talking about the shuttle room quite a lot. On both halves of the map, you guys were really back and forth. There were 3 or 4 team wipes going both ways. There was a lot of time spent in just the shuttle room. Was that the critical point for you guys? Were you?
Well, I mean, how happy were you when? How happy were you in the shuttle room when you threw double monkey up the top and it actually worked? Well, did you think it was going to work?
Yeah, because the first time it didn't work because the Mercy got taken out early on, right?
I was pretty much saying, let's switch this lineup, guys, let's switch. And my team was like, no, we should go with it. I have ulti soon, blah, blah, blah. And, well, I guess it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments that, like, you kind of feel like if it's not